No. South? Next year. Maybe. Anna Maria Island, Gulf side. Very pretty. Yep. Don't worry about it. I I'm just glad pig sale season starts this weekend. It is, especially when your wife loses 2,000 cash the first day. Oh, we found it. No, they don't. She just dropped it. Hmm. Yeah, it almost caused a divorce first day. Well, oh gosh. All righty, let's go, guys. Glad to be back. Butter pound, 105, and 105 here. Good to be 105, to get 5, 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 105, and 105, 10 here, 110, and 15. Going to be 15, 20, and 120, to get 5, 125, and 25, 30, and 35, to get 35, to get 35, to get 35, 40, and 45, to get 45. Going to be 145 here. Going to be 145, and 45, 5, going to be 45, to get 45, to get 45. Going to be 145 here. So 140. Cavernous Bull 9. Dollar 55, 55, you get 5, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 7 of high, going to be 60, you get 2 and a high, you get 5, going to be 7 of high, going to be 70, you get 2 and a high, you get 5, going to be 7 of high, going to be 7 to 80, and 2 and a high, going to be 2 and a half, 5, 85, 87 of high, going to be 87 of high, 7 of high, 7 of 6, 7, 87, 87 of hay, here, going to be 80, hay, bit of a 9, going to be 85, going to be 85, going to be 85, going to be 80, hay, bit of a 9, going to be 9, and how high, going to be 9, going to be 9, going to be 9, going to be 9, going to be 9 here, Doug, 188, put him on number 7. Sir, make him a 6. Gotcha. You bet. $2. 205 and 205 to get 5 to get 5 to get 5 to get 5 and 5 here. Going to be 205. Going to be 210, but 10 and 15. Going to be 15 and 210, 12 and 5. Going to be 10 and 12 and 15. Hand 15, 17 and a half, 17, 20 and hand 20. Going to be 20, 10, 20, 18, 19. Going to be 20 and hand 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 2. Going to be 21, 2, 21, 2, 21, 2, 21, 2 and 2, 3 and 23. Going to get 4 and 24 hand 24, 5 and 25, 25, 24 and 5, 600 hand 25. Going to be 6 here and hand 7 and 227 of hand. Going to be 28 hand 27, bit of 8 and hand 9 here. Going to be 229 and hand 30 and hand 30, going to get 30, going to be 30, going to get 30, going to be 30, going to get 30, going to be 30 here, going to be 30, 30 here, going to be 30 here. S 229, 61. How did I remember? They went to 3 or 4 different shops before we and at a grocery store. If I found Dollar 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 57 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and 60, we get 60, we get 2 and a half, we get 5, we get 5, we get 5, we get 5, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and 70, we get 70, we get 2 and a half, 72, 55, and 75 here, 77 and a half, 77, 50, and now 80 there, 80, going to be 80, 180, a dollar 80 pound, going to be 81, and now 1, 2, 83, 82, 3, 4, 83, 4, 83, 84 here, 83, we get 4, 83, we get 4 here, Doug, 183, 6. 225 and 225 and 25, 25, 25, 25, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and 30, to get 30, and 2 and a half, to get 2 and a half, going to be 31 and 31, 2, 31, 2, 32, 31, 2, 31, 2 and 32, 1, 2, to get 32, to get 32, to get 32, to get 32, 31, 2, best 231, 61. Yeah. I'm not writing any of these down. Yeah, I got a little heartburn. Might. Big old steer, guys, right there, here, $1.50, $1.55, and 55, 55, 55, 55, 60, 60, 55, 70, 55, 80, 55, 91, 91, 95, and 95, 200, now 5, and 210, here, 210, 15, 15, 20, and now 25, 225, and 30, 230, a pound, 235, 40, 240, here, 5, and 45, 50, 255, and 55, 60, 265, 270, 270, 270, out on line, 270, and 270, pound, 70, 270, 270, 270 here, Ricardo, 265. He's a move. Right there, here, $2, 205, and 205, 5, and 10, good to be 210, 15, and 20, and 225, 225 here, 225 and 30, 230 pound, good to be 235, and 35 here, 5 here, good to be 235, 5 here, 40, and now 45, 45, 50, 250 pound, 5, and 55, 60, 265, and now 65 here, 5 here, 5 here, 260 on 9. Two ten, 15, and 210, 12 to 5, going to be 10 and 12 to 5. Feel like I'm right back in Florida. Thank you, Antone. 210, 15, and 210, 12 to 5, going to be 10 and 12 to 5, going to be 10 and 12 to 5, going to be 10 and 12 to 5, going to be 210, 210, 1250, and 10, 12 to 5, going to be 10 and 12 to 5, going to be 210, 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 12 to 5 here, S, 210, 61. Get some AstroTurf put down there. $2, 205, and 205, 205, 2 and a half, 5, 205, and 205, 5 and 10, going to be 210, 210, 210, and 205, going to be 10, going to be 10, going to be 10, 210, 210, 210, 210, 210, 210, 210, hey, Doug, 205, 7. $1.85, $1.85 there, good to be 85, 85, 85, 85, 87, good to be 87, good to be 87, good to be 92 and a high, good to get 2 and a high, good to get 5, 95, 97, 50, and 97, good to be 200, and how 2, good to be 2, good to get 2, good to be 2, now 99, 2, and 95, good to get 2, 99, good to be 2, 1, and how 1, and 2, 202, good to be 3, good to get 3, and 203, good to get 4, and how 4, and how 4, 204, 205, and 5, 6 here, 5, 6 here, 5, now 6, and 205, 206 here, 5, now 6 here, now 6 here, Doug, 205.6. 125 and $125. Going to be 125 here. 25, 25, 25, 25. Going to be $1 105 and $5. Big 5, big 5, big 5, big 5, big 5. 105, 105, 10 here. Going to be 110, 15, 115, 115, and 20 and 25. Going to be 125 and 30. Big 30 and 35. Big 35, 40 here. Going to be 145 and 45, 50, big 55, 55, 55, 60 and now 60 here. 65 and get about 70 and 170. Big 75, 175, 75, 75, 75. Doug 170 on 6, 170. 7 and 8 year olds, guys, right there. Single test cows, right there. 135 and 35. You go about 35, 35, 35, 35, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and 40, you get 40, and 2 and a half, 5 and 45, you get 7 and a half, 7 and 50, you get 50, and 2 and a half, and 2 and a half, 5 and 55, 55, 7 and a half, 57 and a half, 7 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 and a half, 60 and a half, 60, you get 60, you get 67 and a half, 60 and 7 and a half, going to be 60 here, 7 and a half, going to be 60 here. Chris, 150, 7 and a half, put him on number 15. Here's the Conley cows, guys, from down there at Sulphur. 7 to 10 year olds are all checked open. All right there here, 155, 55, 55, 55, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, going to be 60, going to get 2 and a half, going to get 3, and 2 and a half, going to get 3, and 2 and a half, going to get 63, and 2 and a half, going to get 3, 4, and 4, 34, 5, and 600, and 66, 7, 7 here, going to be 7 now, 8 there, 9, going to be 9 here, 69, and now 70, going to get 70, top 1, and 71 here, 72, 71, 2, 72, 3, and 72, going to get 3, and 73, going to get 3, 4, and now 73, 74, 73, 74, 73, 74, 74, 5, and 75 here, 75, 5 here, 74, 5 here, 74, we're going to be 5, and 75, 600, and 75, 76, 75, 600, 75, 600, and 75, 76, 75, 6, 75, going to be 6, hold 175, put them on D2, 175, put them on D, on 2. Five and 7 year olds are open. 155, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 57 and a half, 7 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 and a half, 57 to 60, we get 60, we get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 5, and to get 5, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 70, 170, 170, we get 70, 70, and half 70, we get 70, we get 70, we get 72 and a half, 72 and a half, what about 1, 2, and 71, 2, 3, and 73, 74, 74 and a half, 75, 75 and 5 here, 74 and a half, 74, 75 and 5 here, 74, we're going to be 5 here, D, 174, 1. Big ends right there. More of the Conleys. He's got them big. Good genetics are big for a reason. 65, and 70, and 68, and now 9, good 9, 70, good 170, 70 point, and 72, 71, 2, 71, 2, 71, 2, 3, and 73, 73, 74, 74, 74, 74, 73, 74, 73, 74, 5, and 75, and 74, 5, 74, 5, 74, good to be 5, 75, 5 here, good to be 75 here, 75 here, 75 down here, 74, 5 here, so 174 S. 574. Yep. 5 and 6 heads right there here, 165, and 65, 75, 75, 75, 75, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 70, 70, 2 and a half, 75, and 75 here, 75, 75, 75, 75, 75 here, going to be 175, and 75, 5 here, 75, 3, 5, and 75, 77, 77, 79, and 77, 9, 81 here, going to be 81, 83, 85, 83, 5, 7, 87, 89 here, 89, 87, 89, 87, 9 here, 87, 9 here, 87, bit of a 999 here, sold 187. Put them on Chris, 3X. 5 6s here, open boys are there here working on the 4R cows. 4R consignment here, 155 and 55 and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, going to be 60, going to get 2 and a half, going to get 5 and 7 and a half, 70, 170, 2 and a half, 75, 75, 50, and now 80, you give 80 here, 2 and a half, 82 and a half here, 80, going to get 2 and a half, going to be 80, going to get 2 and a half, going to be 82, 50, 81, 3 and a half, 385 here, 87, 87, 87 high, 80, 91 and 93, going to get 3 and 93, 5 and 95, 97, 97, 97, 97, 97, 97, 9, going to get 99, 99, $2 and 201 and now 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, going to get 2 and a half, 5 and a half, 5, going to get 7 and a half, 10, going to be 210, 15, 20, 225, 230 and 235, going to get 235, 40 and 245, going to be 40, going to get 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 40 here, TK 235, put them on 3X. Five and 7s are open boys here, 155 and 55 and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 7 and a half, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and 60 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 5 and 65, 65, 65, 65, 65, 65, 65, now 5 here, 65, 7 and a half and now 70, now 72 and a half, 75, 77 and a half, 77, 50 and 77 and a half here, a little bit of a half here, going to be 77 and a half, 80 and now 80 here, 80, give 80 here, 80, 180, 180 here, 80 here, 80, Chris, 177.50, 3X. $10 years or 5 months, Brad. How far is the other one? 8 months. 8 by 4 and 10 by 5 and 20, 100. Yeah, 21 and 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 2 and 23, 3 and 23, 3, 4 and 23, 4, 5 and 25 and a half here, 5 going to be 26 and a half and a half here, half here, going to be 26.50 and 26 and a half here, half and a half now half here, half here, going to be 26 and a half and 26 and a half here, 50, half here, Caleb 2600. Put them on done. 44. Cut shoulder. One's got a lump jaw, one's got a cut shoulder, one's got a bad bag. Bad udder. Sure. They're all worth the same anyway. They're all going to get their heads cut off regardless. All go, guys. $55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 57, 57, 57, 7, 57, 50, 57, 57, 7, 60, and now 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 5, and 65, 7, 67, 50, now 70, and now 70, 2 and a half, 72, 50. You're both out upstairs. 272, 50, and 70, 2 and a half, going to be 70, 2 and a half, going to be 5, and 75, 77, 77, 80, $1.80, going to be 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 5, 85 here, going to be 87, going to be 87, going to be 190, going to be 190, 90 here, 190, 190, 190 here, 190 here, Caleb, 187 and a half, put them on done, 44. All right. All right. 65, and 65, and 65, and 65, 65, 65, 65, 65, 7 and a half, 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 70, now 70, 72 and a half, 72, 50, and 72 and a half, 72 and a half, going to be 72 and a half, going to be 72, 50, and 72 and a half, 5, and 75, 77 and a half, 77 and a half, 750, and 77 and a half here, going to be 77 and a half, 80, and now 80 there, 80, 180, 180 here, 80, you give 80 here, 80 here, D, 177.50 on to 177.50. 10 by 3 and 8 and open. 165, and 65, and 65, 65, 65, 65, 65, 65, 65, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 70, down 70, and 2 and a half, 72 and a half, 5, and 75, 5, 75, 75, 75, 75, 75, 75 here, 75 here, 75, 75, 75, Chris, 172 and a half, 20. Thomas and cows right there. Going to be 10-year-old. They're 5 months bred. I'm going to weigh them too. They're all going to go 165 and 65 and 65, 65, 65, 7 and a half and 7 and a half, 72 and a half, 72 and a half, 72, 55 and 77 and a half, 77, 80, 2 and a half, 5, 85, 85 there. Going to be 85, 87 and a half, going to be 87, 90, 190, 190, 190, and 90 here, 2 and a half, and 92 and a half, 5, and 95 here, 95, 95, 95, 95 here, 95 here, 95, and 95 and 5 here, 195, 95 here, 195 here, Chris, 190, 2 and a half, 16. Four-year-olds are hoping here. Going to be 225. Yeah, 225 and 25, 25, 25, 25, and 30. And 35, 35, 35, 40, 40, and 45, 45, 52, 50. And 50, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 255. And 55, and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 60, 265. And 70, 270, 275. And 75, give 80 here, 80, 285. 85 and 90 here. Going to be 290 here, 290. 85, 90 here, 85, 90, 85, group 90, 290, 290 here, Chris, 285, 3X. Six and 7 months, or 6 and 7 years old, they're shortbred. Right there in their first trimester. Cats right there here, 2100, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 2, and 21, 2, 3, and 23, 3, and 23, 4, and 23, 4, 5, and 25, 50, and 25, going to be 2600. Now have here, going to be 26 and a half, and 26 and a half here, 7, and 7, and 7, and 7, and 7, and 7, and 800, 8 here, 28, and 2800 here, 850, 850, 50, and a half here, 9, and 9. Jigga 9 here, 9 half, 9 half, 9 3, and 3,000, 3,000, 3, and 29, 50, 3,000, 3, and 9 half. Chris, 29.50 on number 3. How far bred were they? 7, 8. What was the ages on them last cows? Thank you. These are 5-year-olds. 5 and 6s right here, 165, and 65, and 65, and 65, 65, 65, 65, 7 and a half, 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 and 67, 50, and 7, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and 70, 70, 2 and a half, 70, 2 and a half, 72 and a half, 5, and 75, 50, and 77 and a half, 80, 80, 2 and a half, going to be 80, 2 and a half, going to be 1, 81, 81, 81, 80, Jigavon, 1, Chris, 180, 3X. Six to 9-year-old cows right there, 155 and 55 and 55, 55, 55, 55, 57, going to be 60, going to get 2 and a half, going to be 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 750, and 7 and a half, 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 70, going to get 70 and a half, and 71, 2, 71, 71, 71, 71, 71, 71, 71, 2, and hand 2, 3, and 73, hands 4, 74, you get 5, and 75, 75, 75, 75, 75, 75, 75, 74, 75 here, Chris, 174, 15. 10 here, 0 pawn here and half, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 57, going to be 60, we get 2 and a half, we get 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 70, 170, we get 70, now 70, 170, we get 70, and now get 70 there, going to be 70, we get 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 70, Chris, 67 and a half, 20. $91.53, yarder off, please. What happened here? They're all older, Longhorn cows. One of them's 10-3. She's going to go. Daughter bid, 105. Daughter 5, and 105 here, 105, we get 5, 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 we get 5 here, 5 here, going to be 105, and daughter 5 a pound here, going to be 105, we get 5, we get 5, now 10 here, 110, 15, and 10 to 15, 20 here, 120, and 25, and 20 to 30, we get 30, going to be 30, we get 30, going to be 35, we get 35, 40, and half 40, we get 40, we get 40, and half 40, and 35, 40, 40, we get 40, we get 45, and 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, 145, yeah, 45, 5 here, 40, we get 5 here, 40, we get 5 here, 140, on 9, 140. Can you guys online see anything?
Yes, sir.
Bryce, you see anything?
Okay.
My screen looks completely different than it used to. They're bred to low birth weight beef master bulls. Okay. How far? They're 2 months. Hey, nice. They're young. 2,500 and 25, 25 and 25, 25, 25, 25, 25, 2,500 here on 1 and 21, 22, 2 and 22, 3 and 23, 4 and 24 and a half, going to be 24 and a half, 5 and 25 and 2,500 here, 550, 5, going to be 2,600 and a half, and 6 and a half, 7 and 7 and 7, going to be 27, going to be 2,800 and 28 and a half here, 8 and a half, 9 and 29.50 and 9 and a half, 9 and a half, 9 and a half, 9 and a half, going to be 29.50 and 20, 9 and a half, 9.50, 9 and a half, 9 and a half, going to be 29 and a half here. Sold them 2,900. Put them on TK, nothing. Okay, now it looks back to normal. Thanks, Mariah. Shortbread or open, guys. $3 a pound, 3, 2 and a half, and $3, 2 and a half, we get 2 and a half, we get 2 and a half, we get 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half. I'm going, boys, here, 250, and 3, 2 and a half, and 2 and a half, 5, and 3, 5 and a 5, 7 and a half, 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 10, going to be 3, 10, 3, 10, 12, 50, and 10 and 12, going to be 10 and 12, 15, 15, 15, we get 50, 15, and 315, we get 15, 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 we get 15 here, bow, 3, 12 and a half, 1. $3, 305, and $3.05, we get 5, we get 5, and 3, we get 5, and 3, we get 5, and 3, $35, and $3.05, we get 5, we get 5, we get 5, we get 3, we get 5, and 250, and 255, and 55, and 55, 55, 55, 55, 60, we get 5, 70, and 5, 75, give 80, and 5, 85, 85, 85, 85, 85, 85, 85, 85, 85, here, 85, here, Bryce, 280, 6. Eight, 9-year-old cows are 4 months bred. Yep, 5. 91.59 is one of them. Yep. All right, right there, 8 to 10s are 4 months bread right there. Going to be 22.50 and 23 and 23, 23.50 and 23 and a half, 24, 24, 24 and a half, 24 and a half, 24.50 and 24 and a half, 24 and a half. Christian, 24 and a half. Going to be 24 and a half. Going to be 24 and a half. Going to be 24.50 and 24 and a half, 4 and a half, 4 and a half, 4 and a half, 5 and 25, 25.50 and 25 and a half. Going to be 2,600 and a half and 26 and a half. Here, half here, half and a half, 6.50. Yes, 6 and a half here, half here. Half here, done. 2,600 on 4. 44. Done 44, yeah. Here's the open cash right there. Here, 65. And 65. 750. And 67 and a half here. Half here. Half here. Going to be 7 and a half, 70. And 170. 250. And 70. Going to get 2 and a half. Going to be 72 and a half. Going to get 72 and a half. Going to be 72 and a half. 72.50. And 70. Going to get 2 and a half. Going to be 72. 1. And 70. 71. 2. 71. 2. 73. And 73. 73. 72. Going to get 3. So 172. Chris, 15. No. I did, but it wasn't about any cattle.
These 5 head of cows you want to buy this, right?
All right, guys, here comes those 4R. Here's the bred cows off that deal. They're out of Northern Genetics. They're bred at Jorgensen Bulls. Northern Genetics bred at Jorgensen Bulls. Here we go. Angus. Jorgensen Angus Bulls, guys. Nice set of cows bred at Black Angus Bulls. 5 and 6 years old. 3 and 4 months bred right there in their second try, master. All right, right there, 2,100 and 21, and 21, and 21, 21, 21, 21, 2, we get 3, and 23, we get 4, and 24, you get 5, 6, 7, and 7, 7, 7, 7, we get 9, half 3, and half 1, and 31, 31, 31, 31, 31, 31, 31, 31, 31, 31, here, going to be 30, half 1, and 31, 2, and 31, 2, 1, 2, 3, and 33, we get 3, 4, and 33, we get 4, we're going to be 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 34, 5, and 35, and 35, 50, and 35 of the going to be 35 of the going to be 35 of the going to be 35 online, you're out, 35, 50, and 35 of the half of the now 6, and 3,600 a half, and 6 and a half here, half here, half here, now 7, 37, and 7, 7 and a half, and 750, and 30, we get 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, and 3,800 here, 850, 850 there, 8 and a half here, 8 and a half, we get 9, and now 950, and now 9, we get 9, we get 9, we get 9, we get 9, 4, and 4,000, we get 4, and 4,000, we get 4,000 here, 4,000 here, 4,000 here, 4,000, we get over here, sold about 39.50, put them on Barnhart 100. Might write them down somewhere. Here's some more of them, guys. Bred at Jorgensen Angus Bulls. They're 5 and 6 years old. Is that correct? And they are 2 to 4 months right there. First try, second try right there. Here, 2,500 and 25, and 25, and 25, 25, 25, 2,600, and 26, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7 of 8, 27 of 8, 27 of 8, 27 of 800, and 2750, and 27, 7, 7, 9, 2,800, here, 8 and a half, 8 and a half, we get 9, 8 and a half, we get 950, and 9 and a half, we get 3, and 3,000, and have 1, and 31, 32, 31, 2, 32, 32, 32, 31, 2, and 32, 1, 2, 1, 2, Chris, 3,100, 3. Here's 13 of the 4Rs, guys, bred at Jorgensen Angus Bulls. 5 to 6 years old, 3 and 4 months bred. Guys, outstanding. Here's opportunity. I know we're in a drought, but we're getting closer to that rain every day. 21, and 2,100, and 21, and 21, 21, 21, 21, 2, we get 2, we get 3, we get 4, we get 5, and 6, 7, and 7, and 7, 27, 8, we get 9, and 20, we get 900, 850, now 9, and now 950, and now a half, not a half, not a half, we get 9 and a half, we get 9 and a half, we get 9 and a half, 3, and 3,000, here, 1, and 31, 31, 2, 1, 2, 31, 2, 31, 2, 31, 2, 31, 2, 31, 2, what about a half, 3150, and 31 and a half, you got up here, Caleb, 3150, and 31, 2, and now 2, 2, 2 and a half, we get 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 2 and a half, 253, and 33, and 33.50, and 33 and a half, 4, and 34 here, 34, 34 and a half, 34 and a half, 34.50, and 34 and a half, 5, and 35, 35, 50, 35 and a half, 35, 50, and 35 and a half, 35 and a half, 35, 50, and 35 and a half here, 5 and a half, going to be 35 and a half here, 5 and a half, going to be 35, going to be half. Chris, 3, 3,500. Chris, 3. 3,500. Is that what the bread to? By God, I don't care what color he looks like. That's a damn good bull. Thank you. What about 225? Now 30. 225, 30, and 230, and 25, 30, we get 30, and down 2 and a half, we get 2 and a half, going to be 2 and a half, 5, and 235, 35, 37 and a half, 37 40, we get 40, we got 42 and a half, we get 2 and a half, 42.50. Look at the disposition in him. 240, 240, 240, 240. S, 237 and a half, 61. Oh, yeah. Two 35, and 35, you get 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, you get 35, you get 35, you get 35, you get 5, 35, 35, 35, 35, 231, and 31, 2, 32, 32, 32, 32, 33, 2, and 32, 3, you get 33, you get 34, and 34, you get 34, 35, 35, 35, 34, 5, and 35, 6, you get 35, you're going to be 6 here, you're going to be 36, 7, and 37, you get 30, you get 37, 8, 9, you're going to be 9, you get 9, you're going to be 9, midnight, and 38, 9 here, you get 9, you get 9, 238, 9 here, 238, 61. Same way, isn't it? Yep. 225, and 225, and 25, 25, 25, 225, and 5 here, 5 here, going to be 225, and 225, and 5 here, 5 here, going to be 221, and 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 2, 22, 3, and 23, 3, and 23, 4, 23, 4, 23, 4, going to be 23, 4, and 23, 24, and 23, 4 here, 4 here, 4 here, same way, 223. $2, 205, and 205, to get 5, 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 205, and 205, to get 5, and 5 here, 5, to get 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 5. Anybody else down 205? Yes, $2.61. Ah. Yep. Not bid, 105, and $105, 105, to get 5, to get 5, to get 5, and 10, to get 10, to get 15, to get 20, to get 5, to get 30, and 5, and 35, 40, to get 40, 45, 45, 45, 50, and 59, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 60, and now 65, and to get 70, 170, to get 70, and 70, 70 down to 67 and a half, 70, and now 70, 70, 72 and a half, and 72 and a half, 75, and 75, 75, 75, 75, 75, 75, 75, Doug, 572 and a half. 155, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 57, 57, going to be 60, going to get 2 and a half, going to get 70, 70, 170, 70, $170, going to be 70, going to get 70, going to get 70, going to get 70, going to get 70, Chris, 67 and a half, 20.
Yeah, they drive by with a golf cart and like, what's your snack? One family was actually, they were super nice. Kids were very respectful. Mom was super cool.
Fancy. 2-year-old who give $1.50 a pound. $1.60, $1.50, 60, and 50, 60, 60, 70, 170, give 80, 80, 90, 90, we get 210, and 210, 20, we get 220, 30, we get 230, and hand 20, we get 30, go to 30, 40, we get 240, we get 230, 40, and hand 30, 40, 40, 40, we get 40, we get 40, we get 40, go to be 40, we get 40 here, so about 230, hand tone 230. $65, and $65, and $65, $65, $65, $65, $65, $65, 7 hands, 7 hands, 7 hands, 7 hands, 7 hands, 67, 50, and 67, 7 hands, 7 hands, 7 hands, 7 hands, 70, we get 70 now, 72, 50, and 70, we get 2 and a half, going to be 70, we get 2 and a half, going to be 70, we get 2 and a half here, S 175, 170.
What do y'all call him? Nickname? Mops. Start swimming. Have you started laps? Have a good day. It's Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 12:30, and Tuesday and Thursday at 1. She was taking like long.
Yep. 5 years. 4 months bread, 2,500, 25, 25, and 25, 2,600, and 26, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 8, 27, 8, 27, 8, 27, 8, group 9, get 9, and 3, and 3, 1, and 32, 2, 3, get 33, 33, 33, 33, and 3, and 33, get 3, 33, get 3, 33, get 3, 33, get 3, group 33, and 33, and 33, get 3, Chris, 3,200, 3. $55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 57, 50, 57, 57 hands, 7 hands, 7 hands, 7 hands, 55, 55, 55, 57 hands, 57, going to be 60, we get 2 and a half, we get 2 and a half, and 255, and 65, and 65, 65, 65, 65, 65, 65, 65, D, 62 and a half, 1. $65, and $65, and $65, $65, $65, $65, 7 hands, 7 hands, 7 hands, 7 70, we get 72 and a half, 75, 75, 75, 50, and 77, how 80, and how 80, 1, 81, 81, $1, 81, S, 180, put 1 number, 2, 1. 180 S21. You need a back tag? 1568. Yep, 1568. Yep. 21. Thank you. 8-year-old, 2 months, 2,100, 21, 21, 21, 21, 2,100, here, 1, here, 1, here, 1, here, going to be 2,100, and 21, 2,100, here, 1, here, 1, here, 18, 19, 18, 1900, here, 15, 16, 15, and a half here, half here, 16, 17, 17, 17, 17, 18, 18, 19, and 19, 18, 19, Bryce. 1,800 on number 1. Look at here, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and 60, we get 60, we get 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 250, and down 2 and a half, we get 2 and a half, we get 2 and a half, we get 2 and a half, 5, and 65, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 70, we get 72 and a half, 72, 50, and 70, we get 2 and a half here, 72 and a half here, Chris, 170, 20. Jojo. There's a Santa Gertrudis. 1 by a 3, 3,000. 30, 100, and 31, 31, 31, 31, 31, 31, 31, 100, here in the right barn. She could bring a lot of money. 25 and 25, 25, 50, and 25, 6.5, 7, and 27 and a half, 7, 800, 8.5, 850, and 28 and a half, 8.5, 9, and 9, 9, 29, 9, 29, 50, and 9 and a half, 3, and 3,000, 3,000, 3,000, 3, 1, and 31, and 3,100 here, showtime. $3,000. Put them on number straight. 65, and 65, 7 and a half, 72 and a half, 72 and a half, 72 and a half, 75, 75, 50, and 77 and a half, 82 and a half, 82 and a half, 5, 85, 85, 85, 85, 85, 85 and 5 here, 85, 85 here, 182 and a half, 1. Getting pretty big, Bo. Okay. They want it bigger, don't they? Got a what? Dollar 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, and 55, and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 35, 40, and 35, 40, we get 35, 40 here, going to be 35, 40, and 40, and 5, and 45, 5 here, 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, all the majors are out, 45, and 45 here, 5, we get 5, we get 5, 45 here, sold 140, Ricardo. 9 and up on here, 135 and 35 and 35. You get 35, 35, 35, 35, 40. You get 45, you get 45, 45, 50 and 50, 45, 50 and 45, 50. You get 50, you get 50, you get 50, 45, you get 50, you get 50, you get 50 here, 45, you get 50 here, 145, 3. Seven years old here, 65, and 65, 65, 65, 65, 65, 65, 7, 70, 70 down, 2.5, 75, and 75 here, 75, 75, 75, 75, 75, 75, 75, 75, 75, and 77, 50, and 77 and a half here, 77 and a half, 77 and a half here, D, 175, 1.
Yeah, it's going to be a little rude awakening those first few weeks.
$4 pun, $2, 205, and 205, we get 5, 2 pun, 205, and 205, we get 5, and 10, going to be 210, 15, 20, we get 5, we get 30, we get 5, and 40, and 240, 40, now 45, and 45, 59, 59, 55, 55, 60, we get 260, 265, and now 70, 270, we get 270, we get 275, and 75 here, 75, 75, 75, 275, 80, and now 80 there, 80, give 80 here, 80 here, Chris, 275, 3X. 8 years young here, 55, 55, 55, 55, 57, 57, 7, 60, 60, 2 and a half, 5, and 75, 7, 70, 72 and a half, 72, 50, and 75, 75, 75, 50, and 77 and a half here, 77 and a half, 77 and a half here, best, 175, 21. One-year-old coming in. $3, half five, and $3.05, we get five, we get five, three, we get three, we get three, we get three, 305, and $3.05, we get 10, we get 3, 10, 15, 3, 15, 20, and hand 20, we get 3, 20, 3, 20, 3, 15, 20, and hand 20, good to be 20, good to be 20. Well, potload of heifers bring that Wednesday, 3, 15, 20, and hand 20, good to be 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 20, and tone, 3, 15. $65, and $65, and $65, $65, $65, $65, 7 hands, 7 hands, 7 hands, 7 hands, 7 hands, 65, and $65, and $65, $65, 55, and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 45, and 45, 35, and 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, 7 hand, 37 hand, 37, 50, and 37, going to be 37, cabinets, 135, put them on nothing, 135, put them on cabinets, number nothing. 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 57, 57, 7, 7, 7, 57, 60, and 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 5, 7, 7, 70, and now 70, 70, 70, 70, 70, 70, 70, now 70, now 70, and now 70 here with Chris, 67 and a half, 20. How old? 2-year-old. 225 and 225, 30, 230 and 25 and 30, we get 39, 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, 40, we get 45 and 245, 50, 55 and 55, 55, 60, we get 265 and now 70, we get 270, we get 270, we get 270 online, going to be 270 and 70, get 70 there, going to be 70, we get 70, we get 70, we get 70, we get 70, bow 265, 1. $10 years, she's 4 months, Brad, 2100, 21, and 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 2100, and 21, 23, and 23, 50, hand a hand, 24, 24, 24, 24 and a hand, 24 and a half, 5, and 25, we get 25, we get 20, 50, and 25 of the going to be 2600, and 25 of the going to be 26 and a half, and 6 and a half here, half here, half here, half here, going to be 26 and a half, and 26 and a half here, half here, done, 2644. 9 years, she's up on here, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 57, 57, 50, and 57 and a half here, 60, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 5, and 65, and 65, 65, 65, 65, 65, 65, 65, 65, and 65 and 5 here, 5 here, D, 62 and a half on 1. $135 and 35, 35, 35, 35, 5 years open here, 35 and 35, 40 and 45, 45, 50, 55, 55, 55, 55, 57, 57, going to be 60 down, 2 and a half, 5 and 65, 65, 7 and a half, 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 7 and a half here, 7 and a half here, Doug, 165, 5. Two to punch right there here. 2 to punch. 225 and 225 and 25, 25, 25, 5, 30 and 25, 30, 35, 35, 35, 35, 40, 40, 5, 50, and 5 and 55, 60, 260, 260, 260 and 55, 60, 5, 60, 5, 260 here. Chris, 255, 3X. 7 and open here, 65, and 65, and 65, 65, 65, 7 and a half, 70, 172 and a half, 71, 3, 73, 75, 75, 77, 75, 7, and 77, and 75, it gets 7, 75, it gets 7, 75, it gets 77, 75, it gets 77, 75, it gets 7, S, 175, 21. Nine years, she's 4 months, 2100. 21, 21, 21, 21, 2, 3, and 23, 4. She's 9-year-old, she's 2 months bred. Rather, you're going to be 2100, and 21, and 21, and 21, 21, 22, and 2, and 3, and 23, and 23, 4, and 23, 4. We're going to be 23, 4, and 2400, and 23, 400 here, 4, 5, and 25, 50, and 25 to van, 25 to van, 25 to van, 25 to van. Going to be 25 to van, done. 2500 on 44, put one done. 44, and 155, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 57, 57, going to be 60, 52, 5, and 65, and 65, 65, 65, 65, 7, 7, 7, 70, and half 72 and a half, 75, 80, 5, 85, 90, 95, and 95, 2, and 95, 2, 190, 205, and 205, and 10, going to be 210, 15, 220, and 225, going to be 225, and 225, and 30, 35, 35, 35, 40, 2, 40, 2, 45, and 45, 52, 50, 255, and 55, 55, 60, 260, 260, and 55, 63, 55, going to be 260, Chris, 255, 3X. Dollar pound, 105, and 105 here. Go to 105, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, now 5, 10, 110, 115, 120, $20, 130, 130, and 125, and 25, and 30, 35, 35, 35, and 35 here, 5 here, going to be 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, and 35, 5 here, 5 here, sold 130. I do not remember. You look familiar, but I cannot remember your name. Weeby. Well, I've drank a lot since then, Mr. Weeby. I've been in Florida for way too long. 210, and 210, and 210, 12 to 5, group 10 and 12 to 5, group 10 and 12 to 5, group 10 and 12 to 5, group 210, 1250, and 10 and 12 to 5, group $2, 2.5, and 2.5, we get 2.5, 5, and 2.5, we get 5, 7.5, 7.5, 10, group 210, 210, 210, 210, 12, 8, 9, and now 9, 10, and 9, 10, bit of a 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 9, 10, group 2, 9, 10, Gibbon Bull, 209, Gibbon Bull.
Is that his first one?
8-year-old guy, she's 5 months bred here, 2100, and 21, and 21, and 21, 21, 21, 21, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 25, 50, and 25, 25, 600, and 6.5, 6.5, now 7, now 8, now 29, 8, now 900, 9, 2900, and 2950, and now 9.5, 3, and 3,000, 3,000, 3,000, Yost, 2950. $10 years old. She's 3 months bred. All right, 2100, 21, 21, and 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 2100, and 21, 20, and 21, 21, 21, 21, 2100, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 25, 50, and 25 and a half here, 5 of the bag, 600, and 25 of the bag, going to be 2600 here, 5 of the bag, going to be 2600 here, done, 25, 50, 44. 8-year-old here, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 57, 57, 7, 60, 60, 2 and a half, 5, and 65, 65, 7, 70, 72 and a half, 72, 50, and 72 and a half, 75, 75, 75, 50, and now 80 there, now 82 and a half, 82 and a half, 81, 81 here, 81 here, 81 here, Chris, 180, 15. 10 here, she's up on there here, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 57, 77, 7, 60, and 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 5, and 5, 7, 70, 70, now 70, and 70, 70, 70, 72 and a half, 72 and a half, 72, 50, and 72 and a half, 5, and 75, 75, 75, 75, 35, and 73, 75, 75, 5, and 74, 75, 74, 75, 600, and 75, 6, sold 175, D2. Eight-year-old guys right there, here, 155, and 55, and 55, 55, 55, 55, 10-year-old here, and 35, 40, and 35, 40, 35, 35, 35, 35, 45, and 45, 45, 50, 59, 52 and a half, 52 and a half, 5, and 57, 57, 60, 60, 60, 60, and 57, going to be 60, here, Chris, 57 and a half on 20. They see me rolling, they hating. Six-year-old cow, she's 4 months bred. Guys, ripping good set right there. Going to be 2,500 and 25. 25 and 25, 25, 25, 25, 50 and 25 of the van. Going to be 25 of the van, 5 of the van, 5 of the van. Going to be 25 of the van. Going to be 25 of the van. Going to be 25, 50, 600 and 6 and a half here now. 650 and 6 and a half here. Half here. Half here. Half here. Half here. Chris, 2,600. 3. Down on the pond here, 135, 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, 37 and a half, going to be 40, going to get 2 and a half, going to get 5, going to be 7 and a half, 50, and a half, 52 and a half, going to get 2 and a half, 5, and 55, 55, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 57 and a half, going to be 60, going to get 60, going to get 60, and now 60, going to get 62 and a half, and 2 and a half, going to get 5, now it's going to 1, 3 and a half, 5, and it's going to 3 and a half, 5, and now it's going to 5, it's going to 5, it's going to 7, and 67, now 9, 69, and now 7, going to 9, 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 Cavaness, 167. 10 here, she's 4 months bred, 2,100, 21, 21, 21, 20, where guys, she's limping a little here, 135, 40, and 35, 40 here, 35, 40 here, 40, 40, 40, 35, 40, and 35, 45, and 45, 45, 50, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 60, $8, 60 pound here, going to be 60 here, online you're at, 160, Caleb, you're out, 65, 165, 165, Bryce, 160 on number 1. 6-year-old, she's 5 months bred. She's got not a real bad eye, but it's getting there. Wire to you. 165. 165. 55. 55. 55. 55. And 55. 55. 45. And 45. 45. 35. And 35. 35. 35. 35. 35. 35. 35. 35 here. 25. And 25. And 27. 50. And 30. 30. 32 and a half. 32 and a half. 32. 50. Doug, you're out. 32 and a half. And 30. 2 and a half. 5. And 35. 35. 35. 35. 35. 35. 37 and a half. And 37 and a half. Going to be 37 and a half. Going to be 37. 40. And 42 and a half. And 40. 2 and a half. 5. And 45. 47 and a half. 47 and a half. 15. 50. 2 and a half. 2 and a half. 5. And 57 and a half. 57 and a half. Going to be 60. 2 and a half. 62. 50. And 2 and a half. 2 and a half. 2 and a half. 2 and a half. Going to be 2 and a half. 2 and a Doug. 160 on 5X. You want to pin them together or keep them separate? Keep them separate. All right, right there, here, 10 years old, right there, here, 155, and 55, and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, now 5, and 55, and 55, and 5 here, 5 here, 35, and 37 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, going to be 37 and a half, and 37 and a half, going to be 37 and a half, going to be 37 and a half, going to be 37, 50, and 37 and a half here, 40, and half, 40, 42 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 42 and a half, 5, and 47 and a half, and 47 and 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, and 50, 50, 50 here, Cabinets, 140, 7 and a half. 3 years old right there. You're going to be 225. Yeah, 225 and 25, 25, 25, 25, 5 here. 5 here. You're going to be 205 and 205 and 205. You're going to get 5, you're going to get 5 and 10. You're going to be 10. You're going to get 15. You're going to be 20 and 225, 225 and 30. You're going to get 230. You're going to get 235 and 35, 40. You're going to get 40. You're going to get 40 down, 45, 45, 50 and half 50. You're going to get 255 and 55, 55, 60. You're going to get 260 pound, half 5 and to get 5 70. You're going to get 275 and 75 here. 75, 75, 75, 75, 75, 80 here. 85, 85 here. 85 and 5 here. 90, 290, 290, 295 and 95 here. 95, 95, 95, 95, 95, 95 here. You're going to be 295 and 95 and 5 here. 5 here. 1, 290. 5-year-old, she's 5 months pregnant here, 3,100 and 31 and 31 and 31, 31, 31, 31, 31 and 3,100 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, you're going to be 3,100 and 31 and 3,100 here, 1 here, 1, 2, 3 and 33 and 33, Ben, you're out, 33 and 33, 33, 33, 33, 33, 33, so 3,200, Chris 3. Here's a nice cow, guys. Here she's 2-year-old. She's 6 months bred. 3,500, 35 and 35. You give out the 35 and 35 and 35, 35, 35, 3,500 here. 505 here. 5 here. 3 and 2-year-old. 6.5 months bred here. 3,100 and 31 and 31 and 31, 31, 31, 31, 31, 31, 2 and 31, 2 and 32, 32 and 31, 2, 31, 2, 32, 32, 32, 32, 32 and 32. 1, 2, Chris 3,100 on 3. Does anyone want to sell a few cows? Little John, you want to sell a few cows today? Oh. 8-year-old, 3 months here, 2,100 and 21, 21 and 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 10-year-old, 3 months here, 21 and 21, 23 and 23, 250 and 23 and a half, going to be 23 and a half, going to be 23 and a half, 4 and 24 and a half, going to be 24 and a half, going to get 24 and a half, going to be 24 and a half, 5 and 25 and 2,500 here, not half, 5 and a half, 5 and a half, 25 and a half, going to be 2,600 and 25 and a half, going to be 26 online, going to be out 650 and 6 and a half here, half here, half here, Bryce, 2,600 on 1, 2,600 on 1. 6-year-old, 2 months here, 21, and 21, and 21, 21, 21, 21, 22, and 23, and 23, 4 here, 5 here, 600, and 6, 7, and 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 800 here, 8 here, 9, 29, 8, 9, and 9 here, 9, 3, and 3,000 here, 1, and 3,100 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1, and 3,100 here, 1 here, 1, Chris 3,000. 5-year-old, she's 6 months, guys, and I bet she's ready for a cool front here. You're going to be 21 and 21, and 21, 9 by 6 here, 21, and 2,100 here, 1 here, 1 here, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 2, and 21, 2, and 22, now 22, 3, and 23 to get forward, 23 to go, 23, 50, and 23 and a half here, online, going to be 23 and a half, 4, and 24, 24, 24 and a half, 24 and a half, 24, 50, and 24 and a half here, half and a half, 5, and 2,500 here, 5 here, 5 here, 5 here, Bryce, 24 and a half, 1. Seven years right there, 60, now 5, and 65, and 65, and 5 here, 5 here, 750, and 65, and 65, 5, 7, 70, 72 and a half, and 72 and a half, 5, and 75, 75, 75, 75, 75, 77 and a half, and 77 and a half here, going to be 77 and a half here, going to be 77 and a half here, Chris, 175, 20, 15. 5 and 7 year olds right there here. 155 and 55 and 55 and 55, 55, 57. Going to be 60. Going to get 2.5, 5 and 7 and a half, 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 70 and a half, 70, 72 and a half, 72 and a half, 5 and 75, 77 and a half, 77 and a half here, 77, 50 and 77 and a half here, 77 and a half here. That's 175. See which one goes out first. She goes on S3. Hold your gate, shut your gate. Yep.
The one that went out is S3, and then we're gonna put this other
91, 92. Yep. So she's going to go to S5 on this one.
S21.
Gotcha. She was nice.
You're into that kind of thing?
Not really.
Or you just
I had to do a sale. Yeah. South Texas Cowboys. I have no idea. John Castle. 5 to 7s are open. Working on the Castle cows. John Castle. $2, 205 and 205. Get 5, get 5, and 5 here. 5 and 205 and 205. Get 5, get 5, get 5, get 5 and 5 here. 5 here. 5 here. Go to 205 and 205 and 205. Get 5, get 5, get 5 and 5 here. 5 here. 5 here. 10 and 210, 210, 210. Yes, I do. 210, 15 and 210, 15 and 10 to 15 here. A bit of 10 to 15 here. 10 to 15 here. Go to 10 to 15 here. Chris, 210, 3X. Six-year-old are 2 and 3 months bred here, 2100 and 21, 21 and 21, 21, 21, 2100 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 600 and 6, 7, 7, 7, 800 here, 8, 9 and 9 here, middle line here, 29, 8 and 9 here, 9, 23 and 3000, 3000. What about a half? 950, 950 and 953 and 3000, 3000, 3 and 3000, 3000, 3000 here, done. 2950. 44. Here, I'm tired of keeping track. I haven't wrote shit down in an hour. 10-year-olds, how far bred? One's open, two of them are short bred. We'll just weigh them. 155, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 35, 40, and 35, 40, and 35, 40, 35, 42 and a half, 42 and a half, 42 and a half, 42 and a half, 5, and 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, and 47, 50, and 47 and a half, 7, 50, 50 down, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 5, and 57 and a half, 57 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7, 60, and a half, 60, 60, 60, 60, 60, 2 and a half, yeah, 2 and a half, 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 going to be 2 and a half, sold 160. Chris, 20. Might be looking for this morning. I don't think it belongs to here either. Where? You brought it in as a pair. Let's look for Weeby's pair then. Calf that goes to this cow.
Let's put this one out, right?
Yep, let her out. Look for a cow.
Let
Calf.
her out, and they're looking for a calf.
65, and 65, and 65, 65, 65, 65, 65, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and 70, 170, 172 and a half, 72, 50, and 70, we get 2 and a half, group of 70, we get 2 and a half, group of 70, we get 2 and a half here, S 170 on 5. I think I can smell it. 10 cents a pound. Ooh, I can sure smell it now. Outside. Who wants her? Anybody want her? 1X. Had a bull with a rupture. How old? 4-year-olds. $2. $2 and half 5 and 2 and 5 to get 5 to get 5 to get 5 to 5 here 5 here go to 205 and 2 and 5 to get 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 5 here 5 here 205 and 2 and 5 to get 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 5 here $1 $2. Do they? There's the Baileys. You girls selling these cows so you can go do some school shopping? Supposed to say yes. Supposed to say yes. All right, here's some Bailey girls. 65 and 65 and 65 and 65 65 65 65 65 7 and a half 7 and a half 7 and a half 7 and a half 7 and 50 and 67 and a half 7 and a half 7 and a half 7 and a half 67 and a half and 67 and a half here 7 and a half 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 here Chris 165 15. Thank you, girls. Got 2 more. Me go see if I can find some cows for my kids too. $65 and 65 and 65 65 65 65 65 65 65 65 5 here 5 here 5 here 5 here 65 7 and a half and 7 and a half you been robbed and 7 and a half 7 and a half 6 7 and 7 and 7 and 7 8 here 67 68 9 and now 9 you get 9 and 9 here 70 70 now 1 and 70 71 71 71 71 71 here 1 here D 170 on 2. Five years old, right there, 155 and 55 and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 60, 60, 65 and 65 now 5, 70, 170 and 70, 70, 70, 70, now 70 here, 5, now 70, now 5 and 75 give 80, 80, 75 give 80 here, 80 give 80, 80 there, 80 here, Ricardo, 175. $125 and 125 and 25 25 25 5 here 30 and 25 30 here 125 30 25 30 25 30 25 30 and 25 30 now 5 and 35 35 35 35 35 35 35 and 35 5 here 5 here 5 here Doug 130 5x Chris 12 20 she looks like a 12 to me Thank you. First time I've been right 12 days. Hey, it's family time, guys. Here's a 1-year-old. She's got her first one on the ground. Pretty good looking bull calf right there here. 35 and 35. Yeah, 35 and 35, 35, 35, 37, 50 and 37. Going to be 37. Going to be 37. Going to be 37. Going to be 37, 50. Now 4 and 4,000 here. 4,000 here. 4 and 4,000 here. 1 and 41, 41, 2, 41, 2, 41, 2, 41, 2, 41, 2, 42 and 41, 2 and 41, 2, 41, 2, 41, 2, 42 and 4,200 here. 42. Chris. 4,100, 8.
She walking a little soft-footed.
Got a 2-year-old, and I believe she's a little bit gimpy on that left, right rear. Do you guys believe that? Right? A little sore-footed or a little something. 25, your specialty. 25, 25, and 2,600, and 25, 6, 7, 7, 7, 7, 8, 27, 8, 27, 8, group of 9, 3,000, 31, and 32, 32, 32, 32, 32, and 31, 2, 32, 32, 33, and 33, 4, 33, 4, 33, 4, and 34, 34, 34, 34, 34, 4, and 33, 4, 34, 5, and 35, 600, and 35, 600, 35, 36, and 35, 3,600, 35, 600, here, 5 pounds, 6 here, it's whole 3,500, Ricardo. 5-year-old. Here's a 5-year-old, guys, right there. Boat calf. Look here, right there. Here, 31 and 31 and 31. You go on 32 and 31, 2, 32, 32, 32, 31, 2 and 31, 2, 2. Here you got a Ultra TK, 31 and 31 and 31 and 31, 31, 31, 31, 31 and 3100 here. Mobile one here, 31, 31, 25 and 25, 600 and 26, 7, 7, 7, 8, 27, 8, 27, 8, 27, 8, 27, 8, 28, 9 and 9, 3. And 3,001 and 31, 32, 32, 32, down 2 and 30 going to be half 31.50, 31.5, 31.50 and 31.5 here, 1.5 here, 1.5 here, going to be 31.5 and 31.5 here, 1.5 here, 1.5 going to be 31.5, going to be 31, going to be half. Showtime 3,100. Fair.
Pair. Showtime pair. Showtime pair.
Wait.
10 years old. Are they? Cows worth 3,000. The baby's worth 2,000. Right there. They're going to be 5,000. 5 and 5,000 here. 5,000 here. 5,000 here. 3,100 and 31 and 31. You got 1, 31, 31, 31, 31, 31. Hold your gate. 31 and 31 and 31, 2 and 33, 33, 33, 33, 33, 4 and 33, 4, 33, 4, 33, 4. What about half? 33, 50 and half 4 and 34 and a half, 34 and a half, 34 and a half, 34 and a half and 34 and a half here. Half here. Half here. Going to be 34 and a half and 34 and a half here. 4 and a half here. 4 and a half. Going to get 34 and a half here. Going to be sold 3,400. Put them on done. 11X. Yeah. Thanks, guys. That's what I thought. 225, yeah, 225, and 25, 25, 25, 25, 25, 25, 25, 225, 5 here, 5 here, going to be 10, 12, 50, and 10 and 12, going to be 10 and 12, going to be 12, 15, and 17 and a half, 17 and a half, 17 and a half, not 20, and down 20, going to be 22 and a half, going to get 2 and a half, going to be 22 and a half, and 25, yeah, 25, and 25, 27 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 750, and 27 and a half here now, did you give that? And 27, 30, 6, 7, and 6, 7, and 7, 7, 7, now wait, 28, and 27, going to be 27, going to be 27, going to be 27, Gibbon Bull, 227. Gibbon Bull, yep, Gibbon Bull.
Hey, this
210, and 210, 1250, and 210, 12 to 5, go to 10 and 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 12 to 5, 15, and 17 and a half, 17 and a half, 17 and a half, 17, 20, and down 20, to get 2 and a half, go to 20, to get 1, and 21, 2, 21, 2, 22, 3, and 23, to get 3, go to 23, to get 4, 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 S, 223, 61. Two ten and 210, 1250 and 10 and 12 to 5, go to 10 and 12 to 5, go to 10 and 12 to 5, go to 210, 12 to 5, go to 210, 12 to 5, go to 10, 12 to 5, go to 210, 1250 and 10, 12 to 5, go to 10 and 12 to 5, go to 210, 12 to 5, given bull 210.
And tell them, is that all right?
Little rupture underneath, $2, 2.5, and 2 and a half, to get 2 and a half, to get 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, to get 2 and a half, 5, and now 5, to get 7 and a half, 7 and 10, go to 210, go to 210, 1250, and 10, 12 to 5, go to 10 and 12 to 5, go to 10 and 12 to 5, given bull 210.
What's hard to wean right now? They'd be hard to wean cattle right now. Huh? Weaning right now?
Flip those calves off one of those cows. We have better luck than that. Usually not 110.
Two ten, and 210, and 210, 1250, and 10 and 12 to 5, go to 10 and 12 to 5, go to 10, 10, 1250, and 210, 210, 210, 210, 210, 210, 11, and 210, 11, 210, 11, 12, 11, 12, 11, 12, and 13, to get 13, and 13, to get 13, 13, to get 13, and 12 and 13, to get 13, to get 13, and 12 and 13 here, and 12 and 13 here, S, 212, 61. $2, 2.5, and 2.5, get 2.5, get 5, go to 7 to 5, go to 10, 12 to 5, 10, 12 to 5, 15, 15, to 15, get 15, 15, 12 to 5, 15, 12 to 5, go to 215, 12 to 5, go to 215 here, Doug, 212 and a half, 7.
What the pairs bring? 3,000 to
Shoot. I don't remember. Weren't very good. We got a yard out for Chris. Shut your gate, Ricardo, please. Muchas gracias. $1 for you. 155, 55, 55, 55, 57, 55, 57, 57, 50, 57, 57, 57, 60, and now 62 and a half, 2 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 and a half here, Doug, 165.
Got any babies?
Got any baby calves? 3 or 4? Good.
They're looking for
One you
Wheaties,
sent out there.
Wheaties pair.
210, 11, and 210, 11, 210, 11, 11, 11, 210, 11, 11, 210, 11, 11, 11, 210, 11, and 210, 11, and 211, 211, 211, 211, 210, 11, and 210, 11, 11, 11, 11, 210, 11, here, you're going to be 2, 11, 12, and now 12, 13, 30, 14, you're going to be 214, and 14, 14, 14, 14, 14, 14, 14, 14, 40 here, S, 213, 61. Hey, he looks like one of my show steers I got on feed. Huh? About 12,000 too high. Dollar pound, 105, and 105, and 105 here, good to 105, to get 5, to get 5, to get 5, to get 5, 105, and 105, and 105 here, good to 105, to get 5, 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 to get 5 here, S, $1, 3. $1.50. $1.55, and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, $1.55, and 55 here, 35 here, 135 here, 35 here, look like you've been to Florida with me, $1, 105, 105, and 105, 55, 55, and 10 here, 110 here, 110, 15, and 15, and 10 and 15 here, 110 and 15, 20, and 21, 21, 25, and 25, 5 here, 125, 25, 25, 25, 30, and 30, and 5, and 35 here, 30, 40 here, 145, and 45, to get 45, to get 40, 50, and $1.50, to get 50, to get 50, to get 50, to get 50 here, Doug, 145, 6, X. 3-year hold here, 2100 and 21 and 21 and 21, 22, 22, 22, 23, 23, 24, 24, 25, 25, 2600 and 67 and 7 and 7 7 7 7 7 7 7 7 7 here, you're going to be 2700 and 267 and 67 and 7 7 7 7 7 here, you're going to be 2700 here, Bailey Denny, 2600.
The bell on the one cow that we sent out to find the calf.
We didn't have them though, remember? They put center in as like a symbol. That was 9207 was his head.
Let's send the buck 50 to the baby.
There she is. She was a 7-year-old at one time, so she's probably about 7 or 8. 35 and 3500 and 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, 3500, 35, 35, 35, 3500 and 35 and 3500 here, 3100 and 31, 31, 31, 31, 31, 31, 31, not 2 and 31, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 30, 1, 2 and 32, 1, 2, 31, 2 and 3200 here, 1, 200 here, 1, 200 here, done, 3100, 11x. 8 years old, boys, right there, here, 135, and 35, and 35, and 35, we get 40, we get 5, we get 50, and 5, 55, 60, and 5, and 70, 170, we get 70, 175, and now 80, 5, 90, going to be 195, and 95, we get 2, and half, 5, going to be 205, 210, 220, 210, 220, 30, and 220, 30, and 20, 30, we get 30, we get 30, going to be 20, we get 30, Chris, 220, 15. Four years young, right there, here, 200, 205, and 205, we get 5, we get 5, 5 here, 5, we get 5, we get 5 here, 205, and 205, we get 5, 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 205, and 205 here, 175, 80, and 75, 80 here, 85, 90, 190, 85, 90, you get 95, and 95, 95, 2, and 95, 205, and 205, we get 5, 10, 210, 205, 210 here, 5, 10, bow, 205, 1. Okay, that'll be 105, and 105 here, go to 105, we get 5, 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 105, 105, and 105 here, go to 105, 10 here, 110, 15, and now 15, now 15, go to be 15, we get 15, we get 15, 110, 15, dug out, 15, and 50, 50, 15 here, a little bit of a 15 here, a little bit of a 15 here, S, 110, 1. $2 a pound. She's a yearling gal. 210, 20, and 210, 20, and 210, 20. Going to be 210, 20. Going to be 210, 20, and now 20. Going to be 20. We get 30. We get 30. Now 30, 230, 40, 50, and 250. We get 250. We get 240. We get 250. We get 40. We get 50. Now 50, and 40. Now 50. We get 50. We get 50. We get 50. We get 50. Here, Bryce. 240, 6. 2 or 3 year old. She looks young. $2. $2.05 and $2.05. We get 5. 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 We get $1.55 and 55. Now 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 155. 60. 5. 70. 175 and 75 and 75. 80 here. 85 here. 85 here. 85 here. Going to be 185. 85 here. 85. Bryce shot. 85. 85 here. 85 5 here. 85 here. Bow. 181. Four-year-old, she's up on right there, $2, 205, and 205, we get 5, 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 205, and $2.05, and $2.05 and 10, going to be 210, going to be 215, 20, and now 25, 25, 25, and 225, 30, we get 30, we get 5, we get 35, 40, we get 45, and 45, 52, 50, 255, and 55, 60, 265, and now 70, 270, we get 270, we get 270, TK, 265, 3X. Gotcha. $10 years, she's 8 months bred, and 3,000, and 31, and 31, 31, 31, 31, 31, 31, and 3,100 here, 1, here, 1 here, 1 here, 25, and 25, 50, and 25 of the going to be 25 of the going to be 26 and a half, and 26 and a half here, half here, 7, and 27 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 800, and 2800 here, 8 and a half here, 8 and a half, 9, and now 9, and now 9, going to be 9, going to be 29, Braden, you're out, 29. And now going to be 29.50, and now to have it, 3, and 3,000, we get 3,000, we get 3,000, we get 3, and 3,000, we get 3,000, go to 3, we get 3, go to 3, we get 3, go to 3, we get 3,000, we get 3 here, we're done. 29.50, 44. 6 and up on here. 55. 55. 55. 55. 55. 57. 57. Going to be 60. We get 2 and a half. We get 5. And 5. 7 and a half. 7 and a half. 7 and a half. 7 and a half. 67. 50. And 67. Now 70. We get 70. We get 70. We get 72. 50. And 72 and a half. 75. 75. 75. 50. And 77 and a half here. 7 to 80. And now 82 and a half. We get 2 and a half. 82 and a half. Going to be 2 and a half. Going to be 2 and a half. 82 and a half here. 82 and a half here. Now 5. 85. 87 and a half. Going to be 87 and a half here. 90. And now 92 and a half. We get 2 and a half. We get 2 and a half. 5. And 95. 97 and a half. 97 and a half. 97. 50. And now 2. And 205 here. Going to be 205. We get 5. 10. 2. 10. 2. 15. And 15. 20. We get 2. 25. And 225 and half 5 here. 30. We get 2. 30. We get 230. And 30. 30. 30. We get 30. And 30 here. With a TK. 225. 3X. 9 years, 4 months bred, 2100, 21, and 2000 here, 1 here, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 22, and 22, and 22, 23, we get 3, 23, 4 here, 5, 24, and 24, 24, 24, 24, 24, and 23, we get 5, and 25, 50, and 25 and a half here, 5, 600, and 2600 here, 5, going to be 2600, and 25, going to be 2600 here, 5, going to be 26. Done. 25, 50, 44. $65, 55, 55, 57, 57, going to be 60, we get 2 and a half, 5, and 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7, 67, 50, 67 and a half, 7 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 and a half, here, S, 165, 3. $135 and 35. You go out 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, 35. We get 35, not 35 and 37 and a half and 37 to 40. We get 40 to 2 and a half. We get 2 and a half. 45, 47 and a half, 47, 50 and 47 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 50 and half, 52 and a half. We get 2 and a half. We get 2 and a half. We get 2 and a half. 5 and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55 here now 5 and 50 now 5 here. 5 here. 152 and a half. 8. $1.50. $1.55 and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, $1.50 and now 50, we get 50, we get 50, we get 50, now 5 and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55 here, 55 here, Doug, 156X, just 6. $10 years and 7 months here, 2100, 21, 21, 21, 21, 2100 here, 1, here, 1, here, 21, 21, 21, now 1, and 21, and 21, 2, and 22, 50, and half 3, we get 50, we get 4 now, 24 and a half, 24 and a half, 5, and 25, 25, 25, and 2500 here, 505 here, 5 here, yeah, Bryce here, 25, and 25, and 2500 here, 5 here, 5 here, 5 here, Chris, 24 and a half, 16. 6-year-old, 2 months. 6 years, 2 months here, 21. Yeah, 21, and 21, 21, 21, 21, 21 and a half, and 21 and a half, 21 and a half, now 2, going to be half, going to get 3, now 23, 50, and 24, and 24, 24, 24, 24, 24, and 24, going to be 24, going to be 2400, and 24 and a half, going to be 24 and a half, going to be 24 and a half, 5, and 25 and a half here, going to be 5 and a half, going to be 25, 50, and 25 and a half here, going to be 5 and a half, 25, 50, and 20, going to get 5 and a half, going to be 20, going to get 5 and a half, 600, and 26, 26 and a half here, going to be 7, and 27, and 700, so 26 and a half, done 44, 45. You're going to pin him with the 44s? Sure. 4-year-old, she's up on $55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 60, 55, 60, 5, 70, 175, and 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, and 95, to get 2, and 95, to get 2, going to be 195, to get 2, 95, to get 2, 95, to get 2, Bo 195, on 1. Nine years, she's up on here, 155, 55, 55, 55, half, 57, 57, 60, we get 60, we get 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 250, and 2 and a half, we get 2 and a half, 5, and 5, and 5, 7 and a half, and 67 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half here, 67 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, yeah, Charlie, now 70, 170, and now 70, we get 70, we get 70 here, cabinet, 67 and a half. 9 years, she's 5 months, and she's got bumps all over her on this side here. $55, and 55, and 55, and 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 51, and 51, and 50, 51, and 50, 51, 2, 53, 53, 4, 5, 600, and 7, and 57, 57, now 7, now 7, 57, 8, 57, 8, group of 9, group of 9, group of 9, group of 9, group of 8, 9, and now 9, 60, and now 1, now 1, 1, 2, now 2, 3, and 3, 4, 5, and 65, 65, and 65, 5 here, 5 here, 5 here, so 164. Chris, 16.
Where's all Chris's cows?
$16, half 5, and 5, and 5, 750, and 60, we get 7 and a half, 70, we get 70, and 2 and a half, 72 and a half, 72 and a half, 5, and 75, and 75 here, 73, 75, 73, 75, 73, 75, 73, 7, and 77, we get 77, we get 77, D, 175, 1. Wire, dollar bid, 105, and 105 here, go to 105, to get 5, 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 105, and 105 here, 5 here, Jubid Doug, 105, you get 5 here, 10 here, 110 here, go to be 110, Doug, 105, 5X. Ten-year-old cow here, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 55, 57, 57 and a half, 7 and a half, 7 and a half, 750, and 57, 57, 60, and down 2 and a half, 2 and a half, 2 and 5, and 5, 7 and a half, 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 70, and now 70, 70, 70, D, 67 and a half, 1. 2 years young, 250. 3-year-old, 250. 255, 55, 55, about 60, 260, and 265, and now 70, 275, 275, 80, and now 80 there, 80 here, 80 here, sold 275, bow 1. Three-year-old guys right here, 165. 750, and 67 and a half, 70, 70, now 70, and 77, 70, 70, going to be 72 and a half, 72 and a half, 5, and 75 here, 75, 50, and 77 and a half, going to be 77 and a half here, going to be half here, bit of a half here, D, 175, 1. 1-year-old, she's up on $3, half 5, and $3, 5, bit of 5, bit of 5, bit of 3, bit of 3, 275, and 275, 80, and 75, 80 here, 80, give 80 here, 275, 80, and 280 here, 85, 90, 5, and 95 here, 95, and 95, 5 here, 5 here, bit of 295 here, solder, 290, and tone, 290. 8-year-old, 135, and 35, 37 and a half, and 37 and a half, 37 and a half, 7 and a half, 40, 42 and a half, 5, 7 and a half, 52 and a half, 2 and a half, 5, and 55, 55, 55, 55, 57 and a half, and 57 and a half, 57 and a half, going to be 16, half 5, now 70, now 75, and 75, 80, 5, 90, 190, and 90 here, 190, 190 here, 190 here, 190 here, Ricardo, 185. Heifer, 350, by the weight, 350, by the weight, 350, and 355, and 55, now 55, 60, now 73, 73, 83, 83, 94, now 10, 410, 420, 430, 430, and 440, and 440, 50, and 450, 450, 450, and half 50, 50, 50, and half, 4 and a half, 4 and a half, 4 and a half, 450, 60, 460, 470, 470, and 470, you're out on line, 470, and 470, 480, and how 80, 80, 480, 90, and 490, 80, 90, 480, 90, 480, 90, and 490, 490, 490, Ricardo, 480. $750 by the head, 750, 800, 800, 9, 10, 10, 11, and 10, 11, and 10, 11, 10, 11, 10, 11, 10, 11, 10, 11, 10, 11, and 10, 11, 10, 11, 12, and 12 to 5, group of 12 to 5, group of 12 to 5, group of 13, group of half, group of 14, group of half, and 14 and a half, and 14 and a half here, 1450, and 14 and a half here, group of half here, Chisholm Yacht, 14 and a half, down 15, and 15, and 15, Chisholm Yacht, 1500 and a half here, 1500 and 15, 1500, and 1500 here, sold him 1450, that'll be Humberto Guerrera. $500. 550, 5.5 here, 5.5, going to be 6.5, going to be 7, 850, 850, and a half, 9, and 900, 9 and a half, 9 and a half, 9 and a half, 10, 1,000, 1,000, going to be 1,000, 1,000, 50, and 10 and a half, 10, 50, 10, 50, 10, 50, 1,000, 50, crush out, 10, 50, 10 and a half, 10 and a half, 10, 50, get 10 and a half here, half here, going to be 10 and a half here, sold them $1,000. What's the name, guys? You got it, Ricardo?
What's his name?
Roberto. Good calf, Roberto. All right, guys, that's going to be it for our sale today. Thank you guys for being here. Y'all have a good afternoon. See some of you back here at 9 o'clock in the a.m. Have a good day.